your sandwich at the bus driver.
I'll turn this damn bus around. That'll end your precious field trip pretty damn quick, huh?
What's up, guys? Your boy Benny. It was Halloween last week, and I did something spooky and very, very scary this past weekend. I went to a Kamala Harris rally, and I found an abandoned haunted house. In fact, I literally found an abandoned event. This was what the entrance to the Kamala Harris rally looked like when the doors opened. There was no one there. Fact check me on this. I actually went inside. I had an invitation and everything. And I filmed how there was, I don't know, 150 people there. They were in this teeny little small room inside of a convention center. Frickin' nobody. Dead, haunted. Just in time for Halloween. And Hillary Clinton also was one of the speakers. So it was, perfect time to bring out your dead, if you know what I mean. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a spooky situation. Of course, they escorted me out as soon as they learned who I was and called the cops on me. But it led to me asking the question, where the hell are the actual Kamala Harris supporters? Who are they? They couldn't even fill this very small room here at this. I mean, look at this. Look at this video. This was during the event. There's no press. There's nothing. There's no one. Look at this. This was during the event. What the hell are the actual supporters? Kamala Harris is supposed to be tied with Trump, and this is what their events look like? No, man, something's off. Something's wrong here, right? Like something's not right. That's not a winning campaign, okay? There's this dude whose name is Tony Segura. And he's a guy who has a data company. Big data pioneer. He's a former CIA and NSA contractor. It's one of these dudes who tracks cell phones. The interesting thing about a cell phone is that it kind of, you can pretty much monitor people's movements, where they're from, where they're going, where they've been by the unique device mark on a cell phone. It's a little creepy, it's a little Orwellian, but it is the world that we live in. Tony Segura has been tracking Kamala and Trump rallies. And he's found something very, very strange about the Kamala rallies. But first, let me talk about the Trump rallies, because the dude's fair. He tracks both. Here's a Trump rally that was in Wisconsin last week. It was famous because Donald Trump wore this epic garbage truck vest and rode in a garbage truck to the rally. Very probably the best press conference ever given. Tony tracks that there were 12,000 mobile devices packed into this arena in Green Bay. There were 7,000 waiting outside, meaning there was a massive overflow, and that 62% had never been to a Trump rally before. What that means is that Donald Trump is reaching out to people beyond his base and bringing more people into the fold. These are healthy numbers that, of course, you would want to see. Here's another, just to show you this guy's fair, Madison Square Garden, where we were, and we knew that there were tens of thousands of people that couldn't get in. We could barely get in, right? I mean, if it wasn't for the Trump staff going out and escorting us in, we would have never been able to get in. I've never seen a sea of red MAGA hats bigger in my life. There were 100,000 mobile devices in and immediately around Madison Square Garden. 20,000 were inside of the venue itself. That's at capacity. 47% had never been to a Trump rally. So once again, 50% of the people there, 50% of the 100,000 people that had showed up, and that tracks, by the way, with everything that we've seen, all the footage we could take from the streets, the size of the lines. I mean, it's insane. It was insane. This means that Donald Trump's reaching out to at least 50% of the people at that rally who had never been to a Trump event. That's great. That's expanding, obviously, the footprint of the campaign. Here's where it gets a little weird. So this guy tracks the Kamala Harris rallies. Again, he does this professionally. He's worked for the CIA, NSA. He has a company that does this. He tracks the mobile devices inside of Kamala Harris rallies. All right, fine, fair game. So what's going on with those? Kamala Harris held a big rally that they said 75,000 people attended on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. Tony figured out that there were actually half that. There was only 31,000, less than half the 75 that the campaign says. 31,000, though, is still a big number. That's a lot of people showing up for your rally in Washington, D.C. So how many of these people have been to a Kamala Harris rally? Is she bringing new people into the fold? 91% of these people have attended 3 Kamala Harris rallies or more. So either these people are completely unemployed or they are being paid by the Kamala Harris team to go to her rallies. There's no other way to explain this. Kamala Harris is not reaching out to people. She's reaching the same people over and over and over again. Interestingly, 11,000 were from Georgia. 6,500 were from California. So nearly 20,000 devices of the 31,000 were from out of state. But not just out of state, like hundreds, if not thousands of miles away. These are people who have been bussed in, clearly, to staff the Kamala Harris rallies. This tracks with what we've seen on the ground before. People like Jack Posobiec just today talking about how there were massive buses that are busing people into a Kamala Harris rally in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Here's another shot of a bus dropping off Kamala supporters, probably people getting paid Chick-fil-A's, sandwiches, and a pack of cigarettes, right? Who knows? And she picked a venue that's half the size of where Trump spoke in Allentown yesterday. We played you clips before of local news reporters interviewing people at the Kamala rallies, and some of the people are coming from hundreds of miles away on a bus that was paid for by the campaign. So people were going to a Savannah, Georgia rally coming from Atlanta, and the Kamala campaign were bussing them in. This isn't a real campaign. These aren't real people. Jack, of course, showing what it looks like inside of the rally itself. You can see that the rent-a-mob is getting a little weak beer here. They're spreading their staff a little thin. As you can see that the bleachers are not even filled inside of a high school gymnasium. But it gets worse. It always gets worse. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Tony continues his work. Kamala Harris rally at the Expo in downtown Las Vegas, 7,000 mobile devices. Okay, that's a lot of mobile devices. I mean, the decent number of people showing up to a rally, all right? Only 800 were from Vegas. Over 3,000 were from California. 2,000 were from Arizona. 134 were from Mexico. So this is clearly people being bussed in that are not from the swing state of Nevada. They're people who have been either like paid, probably, or leveraged against because they're employees of the state or employees of a union or employees of the Democrat Party from surrounding states to come to this swing state to make it look like Kamala has more support than she does inside of the swing state. Here she is in North Carolina. Look at this. Here's a Kamala rally in North Carolina. Impressive numbers. Look at that. You have a lot of people there. I'm trying to be fair here. There's a lot of people at this Kamala rally. So who exactly are these people? Let's go ahead and look at their cell phone devices, which are, of course, their fingerprint digitally in this ecosystem. Here we go. 3,000 were from North Carolina cities. There were 16,000 total. Again, there's a lot of people at the rally, right? Okay, but presumably they would all be from North Carolina since this is a North Carolina rally. And you're trying to show how much support you have in the swing state. 3,000 were from North Carolina cities. Of Charlotte, Raleigh, Greensboro, Durham, Winston-Salem, Fayetteville. Fine. Okay, fine. That's 3,000 people from North Carolina. Great. Where are the other 13,000 from? 7,000 were from Georgia, Atlanta. 4,000 were from Savannah, Georgia. 400 were from North Carolina Central University. There were a bunch of students there. And 300 were traveling with the Harris campaign. Holy smokes. So wait a second. So this North Carolina rally has thousands of voters at it, thousands of people at it that were not from North Carolina, can't vote in North Carolina. The majority of people were from Atlanta, Georgia. The majority of people were from Georgia, period, in this North Carolina rally. Well, it's illegal for someone in Georgia to vote in North Carolina. So what exactly is happening here? What's happening here is fraud. They're trying to show you that Kamala has all this support in North Carolina when she doesn't. It continues again and again and again. 5,000 devices in Charlotte. It appears that 3,000 came from Georgia, mainly Atlanta. So they're renting rally. It's called Rent-A-Rally, Rent-A-Mob, right? GPS for Savannah, Georgia rally, 7,000 devices. 5,000 devices. That's 50% of the capacity of the arena. Many of the attendees are from Atlanta, so they're being bussed in, and fed. And they have to use black curtains in order to block out what's actually happening. People who are like hyping how excited places like my home state of Florida are for Kamala Harris, dude can come over the top and be like, there are 230 people there. It's not real. Just like what we found. It's not real. Nothing in Kamala Harris's campaign is real. It's all cringe. It's totally manufactured. It's not real. This is amazing. This is like hard data. When you show up to a Kamala Harris rally, what do you see? The cringiest things on planet Earth. You watch the way that Kamala interacts with her rally attendees and tell me if you think the rally is real and if you think Kamala actually believes the rally is real. The answer to this is obviously no.
Let's vote. Let's get out the 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 vote. Let's win.